Howdy, everyone. My name is Nicholas, and welcome to the Headliner PodPod. We're a show about podcasts featuring podcasts by podcasters that's hosted by people who help podcasters with their podcasting. On each episode, a few of us folks over at Headliner sit down to play a game that centers around listening to randomly selected clips from over 500 episode submissions we've gotten from podcasters. Why? Well, in order to find what we call Pod Zero. Here are the rules. Each lucky contestant will hear a 60-second podcast clip. They'll then need to pick the correct podcast title from a lineup of 3 choices before being shown the artwork for that show. Before we get this show on the road, though, let's say hi to each of our contestants for today, starting with Kristy.
Let's go!
Thank you for the enthusiasm. I needed that. It's like a
You're
shot
welcome.
of espresso. Next up, we have Max.
Hello, podcasters. We are here for you.
So supportive. Oh my gosh. Next,
We
we got you. You're fine. You're going to get through this. Next up, we have Jesse.
Hello, podcasters. We're here for you.
Okay. And next, Prateek.
Hey, everyone.
We also have Alyssa, our producer, who I'm sure has an ad read for us.
Hi, and do. Adding captions to podcast videos is no joke. Including captions on podcast videos goes a long way toward creating high-quality, engaging content that helps grow shows. By adding captions, podcasters make accessible, engaging podcast videos that support a positive listening experience. To create and style captions, log into your Headliner account at make.headliner.app and click the pink transcribe button.
All right. You heard it here, folks. And on that note, let's just dive right into things, starting with Kristy.
Let's go. What thing should I use? I've been trying not to double it up, but that's really hard.
Is that a hat over there?
On a skull?
Yeah, on a skull.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of hats on it.
Okay.
Dang. Okay, we'll just do this. I like using this. Okay, ready.
Cool.
My name is Krista, and I'm your host. It's May 22nd, 2024, and with May being Mental Health Month, I thought this was a good time to rewind back to episode 13, where I shared 6 self-care tips for us busy mamas. I also want to come clean with you about something I have struggled with over the last couple of years and finally got under control thanks to some of these tips in today's episode. But before we get into that, I just want to say thanks for tuning in, Mama. I started this podcast because babies don't come with instructions. As of this recording, I am chasing around a 5-year-old that no amount of Googling, mom groups, or books were able to prepare me for. There's a lot of stuff people don't talk about when it comes to pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, postpartum. And as someone who was previously terrified, all of the above, I'm here to help you pull back the curtain on all of it.
All right. There's your clip. You heard it here, folks. Babies do not come with instructions. I know, I'm shocked.
They don't.
It that has to be so hard. Like, okay, what? Whatever. Anyway, here are your options for today, Kristy. Number 1 is secret mom hacks. Number 2, just mom things. And number 3, momming it.
They're all pretty good. I'm gonna pick Momming It.
Momming it. Yeah, I really like that title too. It makes me think of the Muppets song, like Menomina.
Is it Mommin with an apostrophe, or are they just going for it? Secret
Oh no,
mom hack.
it's first off, the answer is secret mom hacks, but it was an apostrophe.
Okay, cool. That's better.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know, very
Great
cool.
movie.
Yes, that is a way to describe the 80s breakdancing movie, Breakin'. Here is some info about the episode we just listened to. This was from the episode My Mental Health Journey, Overcoming Anxiety and Migraines with Self-Compassion, Movement, and More, episode 68. And following up, here is our show description. Someone who was previously terrified of childbirth, parenthood, and all that follows, here to help you pull back the curtain on all of it. Every now and then, it may get a little messy. We may share a little TMI, but that's why you're here, right? My goal is that you'll leave every episode feeling refreshed, inspired, and hopeful, knowing you're not on this mom journey alone. So there you have it. Also, Kristy, I got to call you out. Was the thing you covered your face with the soundtrack to Evangelion?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I read the word Evangelion and I was like, this guy.
My guitarist in my band went to Japan and brought that back to me, an actual CD of the OST.
Very cool. Very cool. Also very cool artwork. I don't get the light bulb in the center of it, but it's cool. It's the word secret mom hacks with a light bulb for the O.
It's a
I
secret
guess because
idea.
it's idea. Yeah, I guess because like ideas or something. I don't know. I thought maybe they also like moonlit as an Edison podcast. But
Like when she's telling you the thing, it's going to give you that moment.
I just had that light bulb go off in my head. That was the
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. Jumping over to our next contestant, let's go with Max.
We can do that, but there's a lot. Okay, the sirens are gone. There was a lot of sirens happening here, so
We can't hear any of them. Thanks to that patented Zoom noise reduction.
Not sponsored.
No, but we're available.
I think my dad wanted to go back, but my mom would always stay for 3 months and my dad would come back in 6 weeks because of work. But my mom's like, why do I have to go back? My mom was also very funny. She had no issue bringing me back to school late in October sometime. She was like, my kids need to be here. They're getting so much out of it. This is where we're from. And they were fine with it.
Did you witness or hear stories from your mom in particular, since you mentioned it was harder for her? Did she experience any kind of discrimination? And how and where would that show up?
You know, I will tell you, my parents, like a lot of immigrant parents, were very much about keep your head down, do the work, don't cause a fuss. They were so happy to be here. They were so grateful to be in America, and they really just wanted to work and do a good job. So when things would happen and things would happen, or I've noticed things, they would never acknowledge it.
Okay. There's your clip, Max, and here are your options. Number 1, back to our roots. Number 2, 1 in a billion. And number 3, 1 in a million.
I'm just gonna go with the first one. I don't want to deal with this math.
All right. Back to our roots is incorrect. So sorry. It was actually 1 in a billion. And yep, so sorry. It looks like our podcast artwork is perhaps the image of the guest for this episode or something like that. Maybe the host. I don't know. But here's a bit about the show. This was from season 7, episode 10, I Love India. And here's our description. 1 in a Billion is a podcast about Asian values, culture, and society, one person at a time. We interview Asian writers, producers, entrepreneurs, and entertainers about what they do and what drives their choices and decisions. Hosted by Mabel Chan, former ABC News producer, 1 in a Billion gives the stage to the young and the bold with a voice and a view that is rarely heard. So, pretty cool, interesting stuff. And so sorry you got that wrong, Max.
That's okay. I forgive you.
I mean, I wasn't asking for forgiveness. I was just apologizing.
Well, you got it. You got
okay.
it.
I
Fun
guess this
fact
isn't-
about this podcast, Neil was on it like 2 episodes ago.
What?
Really?
What did he talk about?
Himself. He was
Nice.
interviewed.
I guess that makes sense. You should have led with that clip, Alyssa. That would have been a good way to see who's actually listening to the clips.
See, I thought about it, but then it wouldn't have been necessarily an automation. And I was like, I didn't, I was feeling
Valid.
lazy. I was feeling
Valid.
15 seconds, done.
Headliner product promotion. You can select the episode in automation.
You can.
There you go. You've been
Yeah,
called out.
Thumbnail is Neil's wife, right?
That's Neil's wife?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
What?
What if Neil's wife is the
I
guest
apologize.
and none of us just know this?
I wasn't paying attention, but I'm pretty sure that's she though. Yeah.
Well, I apologize for not recognizing that.
All of us have
I don't
just
know
been
if you
called
guys
out.
met her. I don't know.
No.
If you...
Better, yeah.
Okay,
I've barely met Neil in person.
that's true.
I've been at Neil's house for many brainstorm sessions because he lives 5 blocks away from me.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I have met his wife and his kids who often join the brainstorming session at some point.
Wholesome.
And all our best ideas are from Neil's kids. So
All right, the more you know. Sorry, I'm just getting flashbacks to the time that one kid strolled into our office like 5 years ago. I don't know,
I
Max,
remember
do you
that.
remember that? Yeah.
the kid who gave us the idea for audiograms and
Yeah.
He was quite talkative from what I remember.
He was an interesting dude. Anyway, on to our next contestant. Let's go with Jesse. I was trying to remember the order.
I got my notepad.
Of course you do.
And then, we sort of run through a bunch of scenario planning and we landed where we are now, which is single tracking. So always having service from going through. So always having through service and having one side of the track shut down at a time. Part of that exploratory planning exercise is looking at how many people SkyTrain moves and can we replace the service with a bus? And so we always do that exercise, like in order to provide the least disruption to the public, can we single track or, do some sort of planned shutdown that then we're having bus service instead. And something that's amazing about SkyTrain is it moves a lot of people very efficiently. And so, when we're talking about shutting something like that down for a long enough period of time where we can do the work, it's just not feasible to substitute bus out.
Okay. There was your clip, and here are your options. Number 1, what's the T? Number 2, trains, trams, and TransLink. And number 3, Transit Talk and TransLink Podcast.
Transit Talk and TransLink Podcast. That's such a slick title. I'm going to have to go number 3.
Okay.
It flows off the tongue way too easily.
Is it because of that, or is it because the pattern of the first one being the first choice and the second one being the second choice?
Look, I do have 2 question marks beside number 1 and number 3, trying to figure out if the second question, when the answer was number 2, are we going 1, 2, 3, or are we going 1, 2, and then they were all 1, and you just put that second one there to try to fool us? I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with number 3, partially because of it's a slick title, but also because I'm kind of hoping it's 1, 2, 3 as well.
Okay, you're incorrect. It was what's the T. So sorry. Jesse's
There's
coming
no
at this. Yeah.
rhyme or reason to the order this week.
There's always rhyme and reason.
No, there
There's-
really isn't, Jesse. The reason Alyssa has this like background instead of her actual background is because there's a dartboard behind her with the numbers 1, 2, and 3, and that decides where everything goes. It's very specific, I know. At any rate, the answer was what's the T? And our artwork is pretty cool. It just looks like like a map of the Vancouver transit system. How about that? So here's a bit about the show. Clip we just listened to was from season 3, episode 6, entitled, Where Does the SkyTrain Sleep at Night? And here's our description. Join host John Jang as he uncovers What's the T with Metro Vancouver Transit and TransLink's podcast. Come behind the scenes with us as this podcast reveals the voices and stories that drive your transit system forward. Can I just package this podcast up and send it to NJ Transit because they have so much they need to fix? Can I just be just do this? Just become Vancouver.
You could.
I could. I guess I could. I could send them an audiogram too with Headliner. Boom. Secret plug.
Just hit that Twitter, which I guess should be X at this point, button.
No, it's Twitter.
And tag them.
Okay. Noted. Thank you for that. And let's just jump over to our next clip.
Product promotion.
We've been really on top of that today, in case you haven't noticed.
Good job, Max.
Bro. Just
All right.
educating everybody about the features.
Prateek, would you like to go next so that we can hopefully get another product plug in here? That's a yes.
It's ready.
In a moment, you will hear listeners' responses about what they see, hear, or experience that makes them feel welcome.
But first, we will tell you next month's question. Here it is. Who is a historical figure whom you admire, but whose actions and words also trouble you? Historians, activists, and even content creators have been helping us gain a fuller, more balanced view of often revered historical figures. We're learning that the heroes of old were not perfect.
No, Amish, could you give an example of someone like this?
Absolutely. So last month, we featured Tyke James, who's the head of the recently renamed DC chapter of the Audubon Society.
Okay, there was your clip. I'm actually super curious about what people are going to answer that with. So I'm already sold on the podcast, but whatever. Okay, here are your options, Prateek. Number 1, Quakers Today. Number 2, Friends Among Us. And number 3, Learning in Good Faith. I'd like to point out while you decide, if anyone says the word sus after I just said it now because I mentioned Among Us, it is an automatic DQ.
What were the choices again?
Quakers Today, Friends Among Us, or Learning in Good Faith.
I'm just gonna go for the second one. Friends Among Us. No idea, really.
Okay, I am so sorry, Prateek. That was not the correct answer.
Did any
You
of
could
us
have-
get it correct today?
Kristy,
Oh.
Kristy did, didn't he? No, he did Mom in It.
I was
No,
wrong.
no one has
You
so
were all
far.
wrong today. Damn.
How about
Tough.
that? Alyssa's pitching a perfect game. Cool. The correct answer was Quakers Today. And the episode in question is very aptly titled Quakers and Welcome. And here's our description. Quakers Today features writers, musicians, and thinkers who are seeking wisdom and understanding in a rapidly changing world. We do not pretend to have all the answers. Instead, we have a place where you can hear people speak from the heart, grapple with faith, and share the insights they've found along the way. It's a place where you'll have the opportunity to share your own insights, reflections, and questions. Hosted by Peterson Toscano. Quakers Today is the project of the Friends Publishing Corporation. So there you go. Just so curious about that question. Seriously, I'm actually going to tune into their next episode because I want to know what people are going to name check in there. So, cool. And now that everyone has gone, let's just give it one last go. Let's have everyone team up because why not? So if everyone will just cover their eyes, please. And Kristy could fight the urge to hum the theme to Evangelion.
It's like it's this cycle of we want more, we want more, want more. But yet, when we look around at today's times, most people are unhappy. They're a lot unhappier than they were when I was growing up. So it just kind of shows me that having more doesn't really equal happiness. So I think, for me, it's just that different type of financial approach. And I try to tell people, I personally believe that money leads to experience and opportunities. Like we just got back. My mom is a big LA Dodger fan, and we actually went out to LA last weekend. My brother met us out there, watched the Braves Dodger game, got to watch 2 of them. And that took money to do. But yet that experience is something that will last forever. And that's kind of the way I view money, that yeah, it's nice to have a big house, nice or whatever. Those things come and go. But the memories that we create and the opportunities we create for ourselves, those are the things that are everlasting. So I think, for me, that's where my financial advice comes from, is I just see a lot of people are very unhappy in life, even though they could make a lot of money.
Okay. There was your clip. And here are your options. Let's see if anyone gets this one right today. Number 1, Leading and Learning Along the Way, an educator podcast. Number 2, Teaching, Learning, Leading, K through 12. And number 3, My Summer Project, a podcast for educators.
Jesse, did you do any math?
I tried, and my initial thoughts were they were going 1, 2, 3, right? And then we went 1, 2, and then it went back to 1, and then it was 1 again. So
How about that?
Math won't help you here.
it never has.
Ironically, on the educator podcast, math is of no use to you.
I don't mind the last one. The secret project one. My summer project.
Summer project. I was liking that one too.
I love the phrase, I don't mind it. It's pure vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reasoning or logic.
Yeah.
I guess I'm fine with the third one also.
Yeah, the third one held the door open for you guys, so you're picking
What do
it.
y'all think?
Let's do it. Good vibes. I like the
I like the
vibes.
summer project.
Okay. My summer project, a podcast for educators, is incorrect. It was teaching, learning, leading K through 12, the second choice. It would have been really funny if it was the first one. That would have been great.
Would
It
have.
would've-
It
Yeah.
would have. I would have lost it. I don't know.
We wouldn't the call would have frozen for Jesse because he would have flipped his table over and broke his laptop at that moment.
Yeah, it would have caught me at a really funny face.
Yeah. So this was from the episode Danny Kofk, Money Management, Mentoro. I'm assuming that's mentor, and the podcast Run with the Bulls, 680. Here's our description. This audio podcast is comprised of interviews and solo shows focused on providing ideas and resources for K through 12 teachers and school-based administrators. It's updated twice a week. Dr. Stephen Miletto has been an educator in Georgia for 34 years. He has served public school families as a history teacher, assistant principal, and high school principal. In 2009, he was the Georgia Principal of the Year and finalist for the NASSP/MetLife National Principal of the Year in 2010. Currently, he is the executive director of a regional educational service agency, RESA, in Georgia, U.S. I just want to point out, I know how obvious it sounds that it would exist, but I never would have thought that there was the Oscars for principals. Like after someone says there is, I'm kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. But good for him being an NASSP National Principal of the Year finalist. Just good on you, dude. At any rate,
quick research. It is not a typo. Mentoro is some type of mentoring company.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm guessing it's a play on Toro. So hence Run with the Bulls. So
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That adds up. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, this code's an older one, but it checks out. So yeah, I just had to throw a Star Wars joke in there because it's me. That's my gimmick. So yeah, very cool stuff all around. So sorry that nobody got any right. Is that the first time this has happened?
It's not just in a long time.
Well,
Been a
that's
long
good for
time
us.
coming.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys get your act together next time.
Yeah,
So-
the game keeps evolving, keeps it interesting. Just put in the shot clock in the basketball game, make it more dynamic.
Could we actually? I could buy a shot clock for next week. Just a really loud buzzer just goes off if you don't answer in 10 seconds.
I like that. And we should have an announcer too, who's talking about everything as it's happening. As we think, be kind of a lot of people talking over each other. But
yeah,
the more like basketball it is, the more I'm gonna like it. So I think let's do it.
Fair enough. I'm okay with this. All right, cool. Well, thank you for playing, everyone, and we'll catch you next week for the next episode.